What is going on, my fellow geeks?
3 movies with elves and a guy with a white beard.
Not a lot of people accept it as canon.
2022 will be the year of Star Wars.
Well, I have more than just one piece of geek news.
I have been Isaac Hunter.
Which is like high culture, but better.
Hello, fellow geeks, and welcome back to Raving Geeks, the weekly pop culture podcast where we talk all things geeky and geek culture, which is like high culture, but better. My name is Hope Goodearl, host of the Raving Geeks podcast, along with my co-hosts who will introduce themselves in a minute with our question of the week. We want to welcome you all to the first episode of Season 8. And if you're joining us for the first time and you like this episode, you can check out our other seasons and other episodes at cm-life.com and any other place you listen to podcasts like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Just search up Central Michigan Life Podcasts, Raving Geeks. So it has been about a month or a little bit over a month since we all got to see each other. We got to have a nice break. Not as much snow as I would have liked. I don't know about you two. But so first off, how was your break? And also, what was one geeky thing that you did over break?
I was in Mexico, so I didn't get any snow.
Gosh, Carter, what the heck?
Yeah,
You're supposed to have
I know.
snow in winter.
I know. I was in Playa del Carmen drinking pina coladas on the beach. One geeky thing I did do was read a bunch of books. I read 3 books in a week, and I've never done that before. So that was very satisfying to do.
You had
What
a lot
about
of
you,
time.
Mike?
What?
You had a lot of time.
Yeah, I did have a lot of time. I had a week, so we
Yeah,
did a whole bunch of nothing. All we did was eat food and swim in the beach. So that was really nice.
No, that sounds perfect.
Mhm.
My holiday was really, really awesome. It was back in Michigan, back in my hometown, and that winter storm that we had was just freezing. I'm not a fan of the cold, so that was not fun. But otherwise, it was fantastic. I got to see my brother, and that's the first time in 2 years I've seen him since he's left for Japan. So it was a really nice time. And the one thing that I really did that was geeky was completely finished from start to finish the Callisto Protocol. I got that for Christmas, and it is a very, very, very gory sci-fi game. Very fun, but has a few faults.
Yeah.
Nice. My winter break was good. I got to work and make $600 over 4 days. Because subbing in my hometown. Woo. And then we had a snow day on the last day. But I got to sub for one of my old teachers, chemistry teacher. And so one part geeky thing, more nerdy than geeky, was I did the work that the students were supposed to do. So like I filled out the chemistry sheets. I am 99% certain I got them all right. But the other thing is we caught up on some movies that we've been putting off because we're like, we need to have time to watch them together. Don't have time. So like Enola Holmes 2 was one that we caught up on, which was a really good movie. We also watched the movie Matilda, which is the musical version based on the actual Broadway musical. So yeah, those are some geeky things that we did.
Very geeky.
Yes. So on to geek news. What have you guys got for us today?
I've got some news actually.
Ooh.
If I can pull it up correctly. First off is Matt Reeves started writing the Batman 2, which is really nice. I really can't wait until that comes out. Marvel Studios reportedly has a plan to eventually reveal Kang as the one who wrote the Darkhold, which was the magic book from Doctor Strange 2. So that'll be actually kind of cool. Even though I know in the comic books it's the god Chthon, but I don't know. I think it'll be like a cool little twist since Kang can be anybody in the multiverse. There's an Iron Man version of Kang. There's a Captain America version of Kang in the comic book. So I think it's plausible. Dungeons and Dragons is getting a live action series on Paramount Plus, which is really exciting. And the new trailer for Ant-Man Quantumania came out this week. So that was really cool. And that's all geek news.
Yeah, that actually does sound really cool. Matt Reeves doing Batman 2, like starting it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm incredibly excited for that. That was definitely my part of my top 5 movies of last year.
Yes, definitely.
So that definitely makes me happy to know that it's possibly happening.
No, it is happening. Like Warner Brothers already said it is happening. That's the only confirmed DC movie that's happening after Aquaman 2.
And Flash. Flash is still happening.
Yeah.
Stupidly.
Yeah.
I still feel so off about that.
I don't want to talk about that. That's a whole nother conversation. We can at least admire that Blue Beetle is happening, though. I love Blue Beetle's getting a solo movie.
It does actually bring some of the news that I do have. I'm pretty sure Ezra Miller actually did plead guilty to.
He pled guilty, yes.
For a trespassing charge.
He's only getting fined $600 though.
Yeah, he's avoiding jail time.
I can't believe that. At least he's facing some kind of charge.
$600 is nothing. That would be like $1.
It is nothing. I'm very aware of that, which is why I'm still mad about it.
I'm more upset that there's rumors that Warner Brother executives are also thinking that it's okay if Ezra Miller, they might still be a part of Warner Brothers and being Flash. So
there's no way. There's no way. That is only.
They still have Amber Heard.
I was going to
say, not convicted, but court decided by jury that she is an abuser. And they're still keeping her.
I'm shocked that these are rumors. Who knows what they do with Ezra? They could do whatever, but otherwise, that is one rumor that I've heard lately, and it's kind of terrifying to think that they're okay with that type of behavior. But I digress. The last bit of news, I guess I have a lot of criminal charges ones. Justin Roiland, who has made Rick and Morty, co-created Rick and Morty, recently made the divisive game High on Life for the Xbox. He just he's been charged with, I want to say, battery, and that the trial's still ongoing, but it just got announced like maybe 2 to 3 hours ago.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
we love all our creators and people that we're supposed to look up to for good role models. Decide rules don't apply to me. It's fine. So my news, we'll stay on the disturbing news for a moment. So the Eloise Hospital that was turned into a horror mansion, like asylum as well, that people could go in for Halloween and pay to be scared and everything, is being turned into a hotel and a restaurant for $4 million. Have we learned nothing about turning haunted insane asylums into hotels?
Apparently nobody's learned anything from The Shining, which is really disappointing.
But on happier news, but still keeping with like the horror gothic era, Netflix has officially renewed Wednesday for season 2. It's not going to Amazon Prime, which a lot of people were speculating for some reason, that it was going to be moving over to Amazon Prime. It's not. It's staying on Netflix. In other awesome news that is coming out, we have, for fans of Zoe 101, the old Nickelodeon show, we are getting a movie called Zoe 102 with all of like the original cast members. So Jamie Lynn Spears is coming back. for Zoe Brooks. It's going to be a Paramount Plus film. And it's set to debut later this year, which is surprising because we're just hearing about it now. So apparently they're going to push through it. But so the idea is that the original characters will, they are coming back as alumni to reunite for a wedding in the present day. So besides Jamie Lynn Spears, we've got Aaron Sanders, who played Quinn, Sean Flynn as Chase, Matthew Underwood as Logan, Christopher Massey as Michael, Abby Wilde as Stacy, and Jack Salvatore as Mark Del Figolo. Don't remember him, but yeah, so I'm excited for that.
Mhm.
And then we've got news of Frankie Muniz. He is no longer going to be acting. He is going full-time NASCAR driver, which is
Oh,
really
wow.
surprising to me, considering I think it was from NASCAR race that he like broke his back and was paralyzed for a while. But he said that the birth of his son inspired him to follow his dreams and to go into race car driving full time. So he is set to compete as a full-time race car driver in NASCAR's ARCA Menard Series beginning February 18th at Daytona International Speedway. He will race the number 30 Ford Mustang for Rhett Jones Racing. So yeah, that is super interesting to me, but also knowing that he was Agent Cody Banks, I'm also not surprised. So
Malcolm in the Middle was hands down like my favorite sitcom, still to this day.
oh yeah,
Um,
there are very
but-
few family sitcoms that match up to Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh, exactly. So just know, Frankie Muniz, if you're listening, you have my full support, and I'll watch you throughout every race. I just hope for your safety, buddy.
True. My final bit of news is not geek news, but if you have been following along in the sports world, in the football world specifically, on Damar Hamlin, he was transported back to Buffalo, to a hospital there, and that hospital has officially released him to continue rehab at home. So, that scary moment that happened on Monday Night Football that I unfortunately witnessed. He is good. He is making his recovery. Don't expect him back for the postseason, but hopefully next season he's back on his feet and at least with the team for like practices and stuff, and maybe comes in like halfway through or something, depending on how he's feeling. But this is good progress, especially for the rare medical event that happened. For those of you who don't know, it was called chromatio cordis, which happens more in baseball than it does in any other sport. And it's essentially if you get hard enough in your chest at a specific time during the electrical impulses being sent by your heart, it will stop your heart and send you into cardiac arrest. So as long as you have like an AED and medical personnel like right there, it should be fine, but it's still scary as crap. So especially if you're watching it and don't know what's going on. And then they're like, oh yeah, they've been performing CPR for 9 minutes. What?
9 minutes. I actually didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah. And it was just, there was a lot happening that night. And I'm really glad that the both teams told the NFL, they were like, we're not playing. And I'm glad the NFL decided not to have them try and play again and just continue on with the season. So, because we're in postseason anyways, why does it matter?
Go
So,
on.
all right. So moving into our main topic for tonight, we are going to be talking about, if you are watching from YouTube, you can see Carter and my backgrounds have the Golden Globe award, like the actual award. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about. The 2023 Golden Globe Awards that happened just this past Tuesday on the 10th of January. I did not get a chance to actually watch it, but I was paying attention to who won what. Especially because like Brendan Fraser was up for an award, but he was not going because he didn't want to be a hypocrite, because Hollywood has not officially come out and apologized to him for not believing him and blacklisting him. And so he said, great, I am nominated. Thank you for the nomination, but see ya. So, and I support him fully in that. But so tonight we wanted to talk about like each of the different categories, and like if we thought they should have won, or if we don't think that what won should have won, or who won, then what should have if it was nominated, or maybe even something that wasn't nominated, because Hollywood is very much still needing to be told if they're right or wrong, and sometimes they don't always make the correct choices, but also it's conversation because we all think that different movies should have won based on different things. And if you were here a couple seasons ago, you know that Isaac and Brendan loved the Eternals, and I'm not a fan of it. So yeah. But so first category we have is Best Picture for Drama. So what was nominated was The Fabelmans, Avatar: The Way of Water, Elvis, Tar, and Top Gun: Maverick. And what won was The Fabelmans. So what do you guys think The Fabelmans should have won? This was the one that was about Steven Spielberg.
I actually don't mind the Fablemans one. I would have preferred Top Gun Maverick, but it's always nice to see Steven Spielberg get a win. So I have no problem with it.
I don't have a problem with it either. I really think that I have a lot of opinions in a certain way about some of the nominations, you know, for drama, specifically like Elvis. I tried watching the first 15 minutes of it, and it was hard to say I wanted to continue. And because of that, it's just kind of made me shocked to see that it even got nominated. And I know this is just me being an absolute geek, but I was surprised to not see the Batman actually as one of those, just because if you really look at it from like a non-Batman fan, it doesn't really play like a superhero movie. It plays much more like why am I blinking out? Noir style film.
Well, it wasn't a drama picture, and it wasn't a musical or comedy, which are what the Golden Globes are going for. It's a crime noir film. So it didn't really classify for any of the awards, which is why it wasn't there. But you know, it'll be in the Oscars. So
I guess in a certain way, I would just imagine that drama would just, I guess, be a huge umbrella for that crime, or you know, crime noir mystery. I feel like no matter what, it's dramatic in some way.
well, every movie is dramatic in some way.
I think from like my understanding of drama is it's kind of overdone. So if you think about like Grey's Anatomy on TV, and how like that's a drama show versus like Scrubs. Yeah, dramatic things happened in Scrubs, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't be considered a drama show as much as a sitcom. Can I help you? Loki is trying to join us. He's trying to give his opinions. So I apologize.
Totally all good.
But I think it's interesting that the Fablemans won. You're in the way. I love you, but you're in the way. Just because it is Steven Spielberg and it's about Steven Spielberg. But I'll be honest, like Top Gun Maverick, I watched it. I love the movie. It was more of an action movie for me than it was drama.
I do agree with that, yes.
So I'm okay with that one not winning. But I think for me, now granted, I'm not a fan of Avatar, so I can't speak on that. And Tar, I haven't seen, so like I can't speak on that one either. But I feel like it would have for me come down between the Fablemans and Elvis. Just because I feel like Elvis, this one was so much about his life and like what actually happened in it. Um, and the crap that went on behind the scenes that we didn't know about. That he had to deal with and everything, and his family had to deal with. That those two definitely would have been like 1 and 2. But I feel like the Spielberg one won just because it's Steven Spielberg at the same time.
Yeah, I feel that's pretty accurate.
Okay, so our next category, which I personally have issue, just the fact that it's musical/comedy. Why not have 2 different categories for a musical and then what? Why are we competing a musical against a comedy?
I've actually said, and I actually do have a column in CM Life's latest newspaper. I have it on digital, but yesterday I wrote a column about how the Golden Globes, I personally think they have too few categories.
Yeah. Like, we don't need as many as the Oscars necessarily, but like there are things that could be split. But so our nominees for best musical/comedy was The Banshees of Inisherin, Babylon with Margot Robbie, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Glass Onion, A Knives Out the Mystery, words are hard, and Triangle of Sadness. And what won was The Banshees of Inisherin, which I did not realize was a comedy/musical.
It's a dark.
I thought it was a drama.
It's a dramedy.
What did you think of Banshees? Because I haven't watched it yet, but I would love to hear the opinion about the film itself.
Well, I didn't watch it all. I just looked it up on HBO Max. I just think it was a dramedy because it's been described as. The only ones from those two that I've watched are Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I'm glad won a few awards, so I was okay with it not winning Best Picture. Glass Onion got snubbed though so hard at this award show. Daniel Craig should have won that award for Best Actor in a Musical or Comedy Film, so I was pretty disappointed by that. So I have nothing to say for the Banshees because I didn't actually see the movie, so can't actually say anything.
I feel like for me, just based on what I've seen for Banshees, is like they were just trying to make a drama like easier to digest by making it somewhat comedic.
From my understandings, it's all about I want to say Civil War. In Ireland, which there is a certain bit of a bit of humor in the idea of people being best friends, or neighbors or something like that, and then being at each other's throat the next day.
I mean, you think about when the wall went up in East and West Berlin, too. I mean, there is a bit of comedy in that, but also my sister has neighbors that I could totally see just, if something happened, they'd be like, nope, we're on the opposite side. Sorry. I don't want you in front of Loki's really trying to give his opinion here today. I haven't seen Glass Onion, Knives Out yet, because my dad and I wanted to watch the first one first, but it is no longer free on Amazon Prime.
I almost did the same thing. I really wanted to watch Knives Out. You don't have to technically.
Okay.
The best thing about Glass Onion is the fact that the only thing that is connecting those two films is Daniel Craig's character. That is it. And they don't even talk about the Knives Out case or anything.
I think it's because Glass Onion's a prequel to Knives Out, or it's a sequel. I don't remember.
It's supposed to be a sequel, but it also changed who was producing it and putting it out, because Knives Out was in Prime Video and Glass Onion is Netflix. So that could have been I don't know. Golden Globes are just weird. But yeah. So I guess we don't have a whole ton to say on that one just because we haven't seen the one that won.
I will say Everything Everywhere All at Once. I really, really, really wanted to see that one win the award. And I'm okay with it not winning. I'm not gonna, cry over it, but I mean, to me, the movie, and you're gonna be hearing about this a lot in this episode, it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, the message that it had, I was crying in the last 30 minutes, just nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I have to say.
So our next category is Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. So we had nominees were Cate Blanchett, Olivia Colman, Viola Davis, Ana de Armas, and Michelle Williams. And who won was Cate Blanchett for Tar, which I totally agree with because just seeing like all the different clips and the trailers and everything, like you could tell that she studied up for this role and was trying to be very authentic in who she was portraying.
Mm-hmm.
And like trying to be respectful to the person as well. And I think she did a really good job of that. Because like you could see the difference even in just small clips of like when things would switch for the character and like you could just see it because she's a very brilliant actress who can work just with her eyes and face more than just like needing her body to do everything, like some other actors and actresses do. Like she's very expressionate, just being the stoic kind of actress too.
Mm-hmm.
What about you guys?
I have nothing to say about this category.
I really wish
I didn't watch anything in this category. I wanted Ana de Armas to win because she's hot. So yeah, I really have nothing to say about this category.
I really wish that I did have something to say about it, but you guys know me as a video game guy. I watched a lot more comedies because that's my bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is I guess I'll say my one like frustration is okay, Ana de Armas is not American, I don't think, but she's still white.
Cuban, right? She's a Puerto Rican or Cuban?
Yeah, she's Cuban. But she's still, I'll say white passing because she is technically Hispanic, then Latina. But just looking at them all, the only one that truly looks different is Viola Davis. And I'm actually kind of annoyed that for her role in The Woman King, that Hollywood still can't fully give like Best Actress to, like they don't feel comfortable necessarily giving it to a woman of color. And so that'll just be my one thing on it because I think Viola Davis is a beautiful actress as well. Like she does things so well. And I honestly think her movie The Woman King, like she should have, I don't know, if she wasn't first place, like Cate Blanchett, I hope she was at least second place, like runner up for it. Which still sucks, but come on, Hollywood, let's be okay with not having the white actor or actress win things.
I agree.
So for our next category, we are Best Actor, Motion Picture Drama. We have Austin Butler, Brendan Fraser, Hugh Jackman, Bill Nighy, and Jeremy Pope. And who won was Austin Butler for Elvis. I'm conflicted on this one because I honestly would have loved Brendan Fraser to win for The Whale, honestly. But
they snubbed him because he rejected their offer to come. That's probably why they didn't give it to him.
Yep, because he said, I'm done with you. And they said, oh shit, we gotta fight back. And so you're not gonna win. And he's like, I don't care. I got a 10-minute standing ovation in France. You think I care about some award that's gonna sit on my shelf?
Mm-hmm. I'm glad Austin Butler won because that means if he gets nominated for an Oscar and doesn't win, he still has the Golden Globe, and that makes me happy.
Yeah. I mean, also. Go ahead, Mike.
He put in a lot of work, Austin Butler. He really did. And again, for what the movie really is worth, I do think that Austin Butler put a lot of effort into his portrayal as Elvis. So I will give him a lot of credit for that.
He sung like Elvis.
He was perfect. Yeah, it was
he
great.
He did a lot of time listening to Elvis singing and talking in different eras. Because Elvis actually kind of changes his style and everything and the way of talking through different ages. And there are actually interviews with Austin Butler after the movie comes out where he's like, guys, I don't know if this is my real voice because I've been doing Elvis for the last 2 years of my life. And so kudos to him for being able to not only just hear the differences, the subtle differences in someone's voice and how they talk and how they sing in different eras, but then also be able to imitate that. I could barely do an accent for a long time. What are you talking about? You did this for 2 years.
That's always the big thing that I always love to give, actors, actresses credit for, is you can understand subtle differences in someone's voice, but actually putting it into action. Words are, you can hear it, but you can't just do it. You have to practice. You have to put in time to actually perfect it. And even then, there's a lot of points where, who knows, maybe your voice is not suitable for something like that.
Okay, so our next category, Mike should like who won for Best Actress, Motion Picture, Musical / Comedy. Our nominees were Michelle Yeoh, Leslie Manville, Margot Robbie, Anna Taylor-Joy, and Emma Thompson. And of course, Michelle Yeoh won for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. So yes for her, because she is awesome and gorgeous and everything. So do you guys, I'm guessing that I know the answer to this, but what are y'all's thoughts for this category?
Happy for her. Really enjoyed her role. Yeah. Nothing much else. Not really disappointing in anything.
I have 2 things actually. First, I would want to say I am very shocked to see that they decided to put Anya Taylor-Joy in that category of a motion picture that's a comedy / musical, specifically because the movie itself, the menu, it has some funny moments, but I would never consider it a comedy.
I think the last clip, not to fully spoil anything for anyone, but where she asks him to make a burger, and it can't be the fancy burger, it has to be an actual burger. And they have that little banter moment where he's like, oh, I can do that. I could do that better and make you taste the very first burger you ever had that you actually hated or whatever. I think that if that whole movie was just what he made for everybody else and then just that clip, I think it would have been more comedic.
Yeah.
but yeah, because they also, the trailers for it kind of made it seem like not necessarily horror, but like suspense. And
Suspense. Yeah, I thought it was going to be much more of a balance between thriller slash comedy, but all I got was thriller. That is,
Yeah.
again, spare moments of comedy, but very few in between.
Mhm.
So it completely shocked me. And again, I will say, I too few categories for this one. But I also will say Michelle Yeoh, oh my gosh, her performance in this was, and she's gone on in interviews to say that this was like a once in a lifetime type of role that she got, where she was able to show her entire skill tools for the acting for that role.
Mhm.
She was able to show everything, everywhere, all at once, dare I say. But that she, the big thing that I love about this movie is so many of the major actors, major actresses, they pretty much say that this was like a redefining film for them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm just happy to see that she got the recognition she deserved.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
All right. So our next category goes into Best Actor for Motion Picture, Musical slash Comedy. Our nominees were Colin Farrell, Diego Calva, Daniel Craig, Adam Driver, and Ralph Fiennes. And who won was Colin Farrell for The Banshees of Inisherin.
Mhm.
What are y'all's thoughts?
I have no thoughts on this one since I also didn't see any of the films in that category. So wasn't mad, wasn't sad, wasn't happy, just kind of meh.
I think that I again, disclaimer, I have not watched Banshees. I was honestly about to do it tonight, because I mean, because of how many awards it got, it really did make me think I should give it a go. I've heard people talk about it and say it's good, so why not give it a shot? And at the same time, I will say the movie that I did watch that I loved his character was Daniel Craig with Benoit Blanc, because I I'll be completely honest, I have never watched a single 007 movie. I know that is like blasphemous.
Carter, have you?
Oh yeah, I've seen like half of the Bond movies. I've seen some
Okay,
from
thank
Pierce
God.
Brosnan. I've seen all the Daniel Craig movies, and then
Yeah.
I've seen some from Sean
Just had
Connery.
to save it to make sure I wasn't the only one, because I was about to feel really old if I was the only one.
Oh no, I
No,
really
no.
love Daniel Craig's James Bond, which is why I was disappointed he didn't get the award for Glass Onion, because he's got another iconic character in Benoit Blanc, and I was really upset that he didn't take that, but it's fine. I think Colin Farrell should have won for the Penguin and the Batman. If I were to choose a role, it would be that one, because he wasn't even recognizable in that role. I had to go on IMDb. I was like, oh, I wonder who played the Penguin. It was Colin Farrell. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say I hope that, and I need to check again for nominations for if they even have that up for best makeup over in the Oscars.
God, I hope they do. If they
In the
don't,
Oscars, they do.
They
They
have
don't
Batman.
always say it on TV. They don't always give that award on TV. But they do have like best costume, best
Yeah.
makeup, best set design.
I guess I wasn't sure what if they have the list out already, because I know some of the smaller nominee lists, they just sent that out, and I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like costume, and I'm pretty sure Everything Everywhere All at Once was not a part of that, which a lot of people were surprised about. But yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see if the Batman did get put in that, because yeah, Colin Farrell was unrecognizable in the Batman. Phenomenal, fantastic. But
We
yeah,
should know. Oh, I was gonna say we should know by like the 17th. No, that 17th is when the ballots are closing. But we will know the Oscar nominations on the 24th
Awesome.
of January.
That's great to know.
Mhm.
So we will keep you all updated with that one too. We'll give you the full Oscars nominees list.
That's perfect. So just the final thing, I'll make it super quick, but along with like 007 and Daniel Craig, I have never seen him really play a role other than this one episode of SNL that he hosted. And I loved it. I loved when he was on that. And I was like, I don't know. I haven't watched it. Let's see what, Glass Onion's like. And I was completely in love with the character. The character was just the funniest, cutesy little Southern man that I've ever seen with the intellect of Sherlock Holmes. You could not have had a more perfect character.
Mhm.
And it is very upsetting to think that he did not get that award. But again, I haven't given Colin Farrell a fair shake yet.
Mhm.
Well, we are now moving into the best supporting actor and actresses. So actresses are first for motion picture. We have Angela Bassett, Carrie Condon, Jamie Lee Curtis, Dolly De Leon, and Carrie Mulligan. And Angela Bassett won for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which, first off, for the fact that any Hollywood awards, whatever company, I don't know what to call awards thing, did anything superhero related, especially Marvel, that's a win. But then second, like, for honestly, only two of the actresses, I'm guessing, let me double check on Carrie Condon. Oh, I don't want the picture. I wanted the thing. I keep are under, well, that's not, oh yeah, 39 years old. Okay, she's like just on the cusp of it. But like all the actresses were like not old, but older for best
Mhm.
supporting. And I think that goes to show you that like we still have very strong female actresses in Hollywood. That yes, they might be like 50s, 60s, but they are still strong enough to show you that like they might be supporting, but they're gonna make you remember them.
Mhm.
Um, so what are y'all thoughts?
I mean, her performance is really good in Black Panther. Um, she had like such a minor role in the movie. I just didn't feel like she got enough scenes to like get that award. Just my opinion.
I haven't seen Black Panther just yet. Again, I with Marvel, I have been very wishy-washy about whether I want to watch the movies just because the last one I watched in theaters and fully was Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, and I said, okay, let's take a break for myself. But regardless, I think it's more incredible because this is the first major award that Marvel has ever gotten for an individual actor
Mhm.
or actress. And I looked at it, and it's incredible to think that Marvel has been around for 14 years. Yeah, 14 years since Iron Man 2008, and it has 4 different movies in the top 10 highest grossing movies of all time. And this is their first time. It took 14 years for them to finally get one.
Mhm.
And
Because I feel like Hollywood was like, especially when they have people like oh, who was it? I think Quentin Tarantino is one of them. There's
Quentin
another
Tarantino
one.
and Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, they're all, big guys of Hollywood. They're like, that's not real movies.
Yes.
What?
I think, and this is like a very, very just convoluted, very complex topic to really cover, but I see merit on both sides. I really do. Mostly for the fact that I think, especially in phase 4 of Marvel, there's been a very clear form of evidence that quality has been declining a little bit in the story, the dialogue, some of the stuff. They're kind of spreading themselves out pretty thin lately with so many different stories. I think that there should be, in my opinion, for Golden Globe specifically, I think there should be some sort of category for blockbusters, stuff like that, because you never really see Marvel, Star Wars, any of that stuff get nominated unless it's for graphics or for environment or makeup. I think that there should be some way to show these big corporations what people really like, what is getting those awards. Maybe then it might give a little bit more creative freedom for these people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
otherwise,
your argument for phase 4 of Marvel also goes into phase 4 is essentially phase 1 again. It's just,
yeah,
we're so used to the big blockbuster, them all together movies that we were crap, I can't remember the word. We feel entitled now. I'll change my sentence to accommodate for the fact I can't think of a word. We feel entitled to the big blockbuster movies that we're upset that we have to go back and actually learn about individuals. And so we feel like there's not as much stuff because it's just a singular or character, or just like, a small group, like for Ant-Man or Guardians. It's
yeah,
a little thing that we've already gotten the background, so can you tell us when they're gonna meet up again? But we can't get that until we meet the other characters.
right. And I would say, at least with phase 4, my favorite and like the one that I think has a lot of great value to it is Shang-Chi. That one was my favorite out of all of them, specifically because, again, I think that it almost, I appreciate it when they almost go out of that status quo of what Marvel movies have, or even Star Wars, the latest TV series Andor. That's some of the best content Star Wars has gotten, in my opinion, for the context of it, for the story of it, because it went against that status quo of what we are always expecting. And with Shang-Chi, yeah, it had a pretty similar plot line or plot summary of like what some of the other ones have. Plot points, I guess. That's the best one, plot points. But I think it went against the status quo of actually giving us more complex and better movement and aim for action scenes. And because of that, you could really, really get engrossed in the combat. And that's a huge thing for a martial arts style movie. And I think because of that, it really did shine.
Yeah.
And I think that there should be some merit for these people to get the recognition they deserve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Not disagreeing with you on that one.
No,
That part. All right, so our best supporting actor nominations, coming off of our geek tangent, is Ki Hoi Kwan, Brendan Gleeson, Barry Keoghan, Brad Pitt, and Eddie Redmayne. And our winner was, of course, Ki Hoi Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once. So I keep stopping in between everything and everywhere because I'm like, no, it's everywhere. No, I have to like read it. So Everything Everywhere All at Once. So both the lead actress and the supporting actor for this movie have won their categories.
Mhm.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's great too. I really love that movie. It's good to see Ki Hei Kwan get some recognition. After he kind of left acting for a little bit and came back and won an award. That's really inspiring for up and coming actors, I think.
Yeah.
That, yes. Ki Hei Kwan, he I mean, this was his first major role since either Goonies or Indiana Jones. I want to say it was Goonies.
It's Goonies.
Yeah. And otherwise Hollywood never saw him again until now. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the acceptance speech that he had.
Yeah, it was great.
I
It made me
watched it.
cry when he was like,
I
listen, I
cried.
didn't think I could do anything ever again. I was like, no.
I cried
Oh.
hard because, I mean, the big thing, and I always I read a lot about the behind the scenes for this movie because I completely loved it. I mean, it's my, I have it on multiple platforms at this point. I own it on so many different things.
Mhm.
And one of the things that Ki Hoi Kwan had an issue with when he was doing this movie was feeling like he could do it. He was feeling so inadequate at the time because of big stars like Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis, the Daniels, all sorts of big names being on set, checking him out, all that stuff. After being gone for so long, he just like he said in the acceptance speech, he didn't think that he could do it ever. And after one scene, apparently, it was a scene that he had by himself. He was nervous beyond all hell to do it. He did it. And apparently, Jamie Lee Curtis could really tell just how he was feeling because after that scene, Jamie went up to him, hugged him, and said, "You were amazing." He was like, "Oh, thank you." And Jamie Lee Curtis was saying, "No, you did fantastic." Gave him a longer hug. And it was at that moment where Ki Hoi Kwan felt adequate finally. He felt like he could do that movie.
Yeah.
It was that healing moment that I swear this whole movie, if you look at the behind the scenes, it was like some sort of therapy session for all the actors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which honestly, if they're willing to admit that out loud, maybe they can help get Hollywood to destigmatize mental health because that's a lot of issues, or the leading cause of a lot of the issues with that a lot of actors and actresses. And so to be able to have films like this that impact not only like the audience but the actors themselves to be able to heal from whatever, that's important because it shows that movies go beyond just entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our next category is Best Picture for Animated. We had Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. We had Inu-Oh, Marcel, the Shell with Shoes On. That one should be a tongue twister. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish, and Turning Red. And I'm just gonna say it. For me, this is how I feel about this. But of course, Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won the category, not any of the other ones, because they're, I mean, Antonio Banderas is a well-known actor in Hollywood, but he's not, he's not one of those big names as much as Guillermo del Toro is. So that's my feeling. I really think Turning Red. I haven't seen Puss in Boots: The Last Wish yet, but I really think Turning Red did a lot with dialogue between not only showing people differences in households, especially between cultures, but also, hey, let's give a way for girls to be able to talk about stuff. And yeah, it's embarrassing and awkward, and it happens though. We need to be able to find a way to deal. But and I didn't see Inu O or Marcel the Shell with shoes on. But they both look super cute, especially the shell one, Marcel. But yeah, what are y'all thinking?
I was really conflicted with this one. I really wanted Puss in Boots to win because of how good that movie was. But I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, and any win that he can get is a win in my book. And I'm really glad Pinocchio won because that was a really good adaptation of the story. So I was conflicted, and I couldn't have gone either way, but I'm ultimately happy that Guillermo del Toro wins another award, and that means he gets more recognition, and that means he can produce more things. So it's a win for me.
I feel very embarrassed right now because the only one I have watched is Turning Red. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that is a Disney exclusive, or is it a Pixar?
It's a Disney Plus exclusive, and it's mediocre in my opinion.
I
Their
think
best
that
attempt.
I like the dialogue. To me, it got me very excited for the upcoming age where they are going to have movies about late 90s, early 2000s. Just because I feel very nostalgic for stuff like that. I'm a 2000 kid, and some of my earliest memories are stuff like the GameCube and watching SpongeBob and all sorts of like 2000s type of things. Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, Drake and Josh. I mean, it just, there's all sorts of things, and it got me really excited because it felt more modern than some of the other movies that I see in these. I think that there was a lot more about like the 80s, stuff like that, and to see something about 2001, that was fun. That was just extremely fun for me, and that probably blinded my judgment of the movie. But otherwise, I enjoyed it. I liked some of the stuff that they included. I know there was a controversy about how they had a few lines about tampons and periods, and I can't believe that's controversy because it's a thing that happens.
The overreaction to that movie was stunning to watch, but like in the bad way. It was a marvel to see people get so up in arms about normal human bodily things.
My only one that
my daily life.
I would say the only one that was like actually so funny that it became good was people overreacting about, well, one person specifically writing about how it did not address the awkwardness of not post 9/11 America.
Oh yeah, I've seen a bunch of memes on YouTube about that. It's really fun, actually, but like in the horrible way.
No, that one was just so funny to me, and the memes that came out of that just made it so funny that it became good. It's like The Room. It's so bad that it's good.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah,
but otherwise I digress.
I am going to speed round through these next few ones. Because there is one other question that's not related to this, but just looking forward because we started a new year, new season. So want to talk about upcoming things. But so if you guys want to say something, then you are more than welcome to. But so for best drama series, it was between House of the Dragon. I thought it was just called House of Dragon, not House of the Dragon. Better Call Saul, The Crown, Ozark, and Severance. And House of the Dragon won for best drama series. Best musical / comedy series was Abbott Elementary, The Bear, Hacks, Only Murders in the Building, and Wednesday. And Abbott Elementary won, which, as a future teacher, I am really happy about because it speaks the truth on so many levels. Even though it's a comedy, it is so accurate.
It's very relatable.
We have Best Limited Series, Anthology Series, or Television Motion Picture. Why that couldn't be split up into, I don't know, 2 different categories, because, if you talk series versus a movie. But anyway, we had The White Lotus, Blackbird, Dahmer, The Dropout, and Pam and Tommy. And I will say, thank God Dahmer did not win. It was The White Lotus that won. And then we have, Best Actress for that category. We had Amanda Seyfried, Jessica Chastain, Julia Gardner, Lily James, and Julia Roberts. And it was Amanda Seyfried who won in The Dropout. Best Actor for limited series and everything. Evan Peters, Taron Egerton, Colin Firth, Andrew Garfield, or Sebastian Stan. And I'm upset about this just because I don't like the idea of this series at all. Evan Peters won for playing Dahmer.
This one is such a weird idea because while I absolutely do not approve of that series at all, the only thing I will say is Evan Peters, from what I have heard, did a great job playing Dahmer. And I don't think he even liked the fact that he did a good job. So it's a very conflicting thing of like, you did great.
Yeah, that's my feeling too. Like, I refuse to watch it. And I'm a person who likes watching, the Criminal Minds and, other procedural dramas and especially the ones where you're trying to find serial killer. But that one, because there were so many things of the victims' families coming out and saying, we did not approve this. We told them that we did not want this to be used, and they still went ahead with it. I had so much problem with it where I was like, nope, we're not supporting this whatsoever. So, like, on one hand, I'm like, good job, Evan Peters, for, like, being a great actor, but also, why are we validating this series? Because of the extra trauma that you put these families through that was not needed. But for Best Television Actress for Drama Series, there was Zendaya, Emma Darcy, Laura Linney, Imelda Stanton, and Hilary Swank. And thankfully, Zendaya won for Euphoria. Best Television Actor for Drama Series. Kevin Costner, Jeff Bridges, Diego Luna, Bob Odenkirk, and Adam Scott. And Kevin Costner won for Yellowstone.
I have one thing I want to say, or two things I want to say. Both Diego Luna did a great job. Even if he didn't win, I want him to know that Andor is, again, best bit of content from Star Wars in a long time. And Better Call Saul in general got completely just
Robbed.
They have never gotten a major win. Better Call Saul has never gotten a major award, which is
Bob
upsetting.
Odenkirk deserved that award, in my opinion. I can't believe he didn't get it.
I'm surprised it didn't get best drama series. I
Yeah.
really believe that. It was the end. The end was perfect.
Yep.
For best television actress for musical/comedy was Quinta Brunson, Kaylee Cuoco. I feel like I say her last name wrong every time I say it. Selena Gomez, Jenny Ortega, and Jean Smart. And Quinta Brunson won for Abbott Elementary, which she does a phenomenal job. Best television actor for musical or comedy series was Jeremy Allen White, Donald Glover, Bill Hader, Steve Martin or Martin Short, and it was Jeremy Allen White. And I will say this, I never truly watched Shameless, but I've seen all the clips that get posted to TikTok, and him portraying Lip, Lip, he's a phenomenal actor too. And I know that show was supposed to be like a hard-hitting one at times too. So
yeah, I will say the other thing I will point out is Bill Hader's Barry character for Barry in season 3. It feels weird that it's still considered a comedy in some ways because that one is much more of a drama now. It's evolved. It was originally dark comedy with peppered in parts of drama, but it's evolved into dark comedy is the side point.
Yeah.
all right. So the last two that I want to highlight, there are other categories, but kind of glossed over them. But so the last two I want to say was the Cecil B. DeMille Award was won by Eddie Murphy. And I'm trying to like figure out what exactly that award is.
Yeah, I had no idea I'm like, what is he getting the award for?
I think someone told me
I
about
didn't
it.
understand those awards like at all. I couldn't tell you.
I think someone told me about it last night, and I was like completely freaking out because I had just finished the column, and I was like, how did I not hear about Eddie Murphy winning anything? And then I realized it was Cecil B. DeMille, and I was like, okay, at least he wasn't part of the long list of wins that I looked at.
Well, so the Cecil B. DeMille Award is for outstanding contributions to the world of entertainment, which absolutely Eddie Murphy has contributed to the world of entertainment. Absolutely.
Yes.
And the last one is the Carol Burnett Award, which was won by Ryan Murphy. And I'm not sure what exactly he was, like what he was in that won it or anything. But if I remember correctly, the Carol Burnett Award is for comedy? Or is it just it's outstanding contributions to television on or off the screen. So basically any TV shows and stuff. I'll be honest and say that I don't know who Ryan Murphy is, or at least I don't recognize his name. I'm sure if I looked him up, I might find something he's been in, but
that does sound very familiar. I'll definitely, maybe next episode if I am back, I'll definitely talk a bit more if I know this person.
Okay.
Well, he's a producer for like Dahmer, American Horror Story, Watcher, Glee. He does like a lot of LGBTQ representation.
Well, yeah, they definitely have a colorful why am I blinking on what portfolio?
Yeah,
that is
rainbow.
I mean, American Horror Story right next to Glee is weird, but anyway.
Oh, I am being told that it's not Cecil. Um,
Is it
it is
Cecil?
Cecil. Sorry.
Huh.
Hmm.
I have no idea. I always thought it was Cecil. My bad.
It's spelled like Cecil, so. Okay, so our final question for the night before we get into our geek recommendations. It is the new year. It is still the beginning of January, so we don't have too much out yet. But there is a big slate of things coming out this year across the geek world. So, what are, I'll say, maximize it at 3 things, but at least your top one thing that you are excited about coming out this year for the 2023 year. What geeky thing are you excited for? And we can do a round table, or we could just do one at a time if you need help thinking.
I'm really excited for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the new Mission Impossible movie, but my number one thing is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I've been waiting a very long time for this movie, and I'm so excited that they're bringing in 2 characters from the Guardian mythos that mean a lot to me, because I loved reading a lot about the Guardians of the Galaxy when those first 2 movies were coming out, and I'm really excited to see how James Gunn is going to close this chapter on the MCU.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, so in the universe of musicals, we are sadly over a year, but 1 year closer to Wicked Part 1, the movie musical coming out. It's got pushed back a year.
It keeps getting pushed back.
Well, it got pushed back because something else was coming out. I think it was like Minions pushed it back or something. And then Minions came out like 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
But then I think they were like, oh, psych, we're splitting it into 2 movies, so we're pushing it back even more. And I was like, what the heck? But that is coming out this year finally, or next year. Finally, we're 1 year closer. So it's unfortunately not coming out this year. But in other Broadway news, Andrew Lloyd Webber has a new musical called Bad Cinderella. And I am super interested in this because Andrew Lloyd Webber, for those of you who don't know, he wrote Phantom of the Opera, is like his most notable. So if he's turning Cinderella into something, calling it Bad Cinderella, the music is about to be amazing. And they're gonna have so much talent, and it's gonna be fantastic. So yeah, that is my big thing that I am excited for this year.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Mike?
I am gonna have to steal Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 from you, Carter. I'm sorry that I'm stealing that, but yeah, I am so excited for that. It definitely is my most highly anticipated movie. Right next to, and this might seem odd, but John Wick Chapter 4, I'm also extremely excited for. I love those action movies. They are just like some of my comfort movies. And to see what happens, I'm not gonna lie, I really hope that this is the end for John Wick.
Now we got one more after this one. They're gonna end it off on 5. I mean, they might as well do a saga and do 6 too. I don't know why they wouldn't. And they're doing the spinoff with Ana de Armas, the ballerina.
I really think that they should just try to end it at 4. I mean, that's just my preference, just because I really think it'll just try. I want it to have like a good, well-rounded end, not a lot of action movies have this issue of just ending on such a sour note.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that to happen with John Wick. It's already so beloved to me. So I'm curious to see what happens in this one. And the final thing that I have is oh my gosh, I don't even know what to choose for a video game this upcoming year. Uh, the one that I think I am probably most excited to see how it'll change the fighting game community possibly is Street Fighter 6. It is actually going for a much more street culture type of influence, and really taking the Street Fighter name very literal. And that's what I absolutely love about this one. A lot of the other Street Fighter games, they kind of had that street element to it, but this one really goes into graffiti and just more of that almost like hip hop culture, and it makes for something so colorful and so vibrant that I want to see if this helps the some of the fighting game stuff really use art direction, just like how Guilty Gear Strive did. But anyway, there's so much for video games, and this is going to be my last thing, a self plug. Level Up Chips is coming back with Max is back from Japan. He was my co-host for multiple seasons, and I held it off this past one because he was in Japan, but now he is back, and we are back with a vengeance, definitely, because this year is going to be one of the biggest years for games since 2017. So I'm so excited for everybody, and I'm excited for how this year is going to look.
Yeah, for video games, I'm really excited for Spider-Man 2 and the new Jedi Survivor game. Those are my two favorites. And that my second favorite game of all time, Kirby's Return to Dreamland, is getting a remake on the Switch, and that comes out literally next month. I'm very excited for that.
Perfect.
My last two, I finally remembered what they were. 80 for Brady with Jane Fonda and Rita Moreno and who played Aunt May for Andrew Garfield's Sally Field?
Sally
Fields. Okay. And did I say Jane Fonda already?
Yeah.
Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlinson. Those four, that movie looked so chaotic and so good all at the same time, because those four women are just so amazing. So that's coming out in February, and I think it's coming out before the Super Bowl because it's about the Super Bowl, like them trying to get into the Super Bowl at some point. It also has Billy Porter in it. So those four women plus Billy Porter equals a lot of fun chaos. But the other one is the next installment of the Fast and Furious franchise. Fast 10 is coming out this year. I'm super excited because they've been adding all these different actors into it, like Jason Momoa, and I'm just like, listen, I need you to stop adding actors and telling us that you're adding actors and just give me the movie already. So yeah.
I actually didn't think that you were super into the Fast and Furious movies.
I love those movies.
I guess I haven't given them a fair shake, so maybe I should check them out.
I will say, like, you can definitely tell the beginning movies when they were made versus the more recent movies. Just because, like, the stunts and everything and the cars get way more updated in the newer movies.
Right.
But they all keep the same theme of family and like that theme of found family too. Because like, yeah, Dom and Mia are related, but they're the only two that are actually like blood related until you get Jacob John Cena in the last movie. But that's another story that we'll see what happens in Fast 10, what happens with him. But like the idea that, yeah, the found family is definitely a major theme throughout all of the movies. And that, especially with Tokyo Drift, that you can go somewhere else, you can be shipped off somewhere that you don't want to go to, and you can still find a new family type of thing. You can still find your people.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's not just cars and racing and cool stunts. Because it's also moved away from like the street racing aspect. But yeah, it looks really good. No trailers have dropped yet. I need a trailer to drop so I can freak out a little bit more on it, but that probably won't happen for another couple months. So yeah.
Oh man.
As always on Raving Geeks, we like to end our episodes with some geeky recommendations, whether it's books, movies, some music, video games, anything geek related. So who would like to start us off with their recommendations?
I'll go first because I only have one, and that is for everybody to rent Puss in Boots, please. It's rentable now. You don't even have to leave your couch anymore. Just please see the movie.
All right, I'm doing that
good.
then.
It's so good.
My quick recommendation is a previous game that got snubbed for best indie last year, but it is a game called Tunic. This might seem weird, but it is basically a fox that is almost in a Legend of Zelda style adventure. It's really cool because it has a manual in the game, and it's supposed to be almost like those old retro games where you had to look in the manual to try and like beat the game. And most of it, almost like 75% of the manual and the game is in a completely strange language that you don't know. You could decipher it if you really wanted to, but it's not mandatory for the game. And it has some of the greatest and most complex puzzles I have ever seen in a video game. And it blew my mind just how amazing something as simple as almost a very, very hard reference to Zelda could actually be. I thought it would be a love letter. Turns out it's its greatest puzzle game for video games.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it on? What?
Oh, right. Tunic is on the Nintendo Switch. It's on Xbox consoles. It's on PlayStation consoles, and it's on PC. So pretty much anything. Any modern console, and even PS4 and Xbox One.
Well, my recommendations, I don't know if you could hear Loki in the background, howling at walls for no reason. But if you are in Mount Pleasant, and you like cats, and you can't necessarily have a cat in your apartment or wherever you're living, but want to go hang out with some awesome cats, Karma Cat Cafe, I think it's on Broadway Street in Mount Pleasant.
Yep.
They give you a punch card. I think it's only like $5 or something to get in, and they want you to stay for at least an hour, but literally, like, if you pay the $5, you can stay there for as long as you want. They do want volunteers in the mornings, so if you have afternoon classes but you're a morning person, you can sign up on their website to help get them ready for people to come in. And you can adopt cats from there too. They're almost at 1,000 adoptions. I think they're only like 20 adoptions away or something from 1,000 cats adopted. So I highly recommend that, because when I got to visit, I haven't visited in a bit, but when I went, I can't adopt cats right now because when my sister comes home, there's 4 in our house plus my dog. But they're all super sweet, and you could just sit there and play with them, or just like have them in your lap. And yeah, it's a super sweet place. And my other recommendation is to watch on Disney Plus National Treasure: Edge of History, the Disney Plus series. My dad and I are watching it. I think we're 2 episodes behind right now. But we already have had Riley Poole come back and in one episode. And I was like, yes, because Riley was always my favorite character. He talks to Ben on the phone, but you don't actually hear Nick Cage's voice. And I don't think Nick Cage is supposed to be in the series at any point. But they reference the fact that they're working on another national treasure and that there's like 47 reasons why you should be interested. And it's a reference to what Ben found for the president at the end of when he went into the National Library during the second movie. So I'm hoping that means that they're going to make another movie. It'd be really nice. You had Sadusky, who was the original FBI agent that followed Ben and Riley around. But spoiler, he passes away in the first episode. But he's what like sets off this whole thing, and you get his grandson. And then you also have the guy who is the FBI agent who worked with Sadusky. He's now in charge of the FBI. But yeah, they're all there, and so like you get these snippets from like the old stuff, the original movies, and so you can tell it's connected. And so I absolutely love it. My dad and I, at the end of the last episode we finished, which I think was episode 4, we were sitting there just like talking about like who the person could be. We're like, well, it can't be that person. That would be too easy. No, it can't be that person because they're a terrible liar. They couldn't even keep that secret in the first episode. So yeah, it's a really good series and I highly recommend it, especially if you liked the original National Treasure movies. And if you like learning about different, sorry, my cat is in a weird phase right now. If you like learning about different histories too, because they talk about the Mayans, Incas, and Aztecs in this show. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah. So that is our recommendations for this week. If you want to reach out to us, you can reach out on Twitter or TikTok at Raving Geeks. We do have a Facebook page as well, but I know that most Gen Zers do not use Facebook anymore. It's kind of becoming MySpace or AIM, which kids from the 90s, from after the 90s, there's a guy on TikTok, he's a teacher to like middle schoolers. They don't know what AIM is. They also don't know what School of Rock is. And that hurt. They didn't know that Jack Black was the main character in School of Rock, and that really hurt my soul to watch, but it's also really funny. But yeah, so as always, we have been your geeks, Hope Goodearl,
Carter Salley,
Michael Gonzalez.
And as always, we hope that you have a great weeky and stay geeky, everyone.
see you later.
See ya.